Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for being part of our Genius Biofeedback community. We so appreciate you, and we are going to get started here. Why does this say show webinar? Okay, so that's going to show the webinar, but aren't we sharing our screen too? We're sharing a portion of our screen that's already being shared. All right, so I'm trying to get used to this. All right, so view this, view the speaker, view gallery. I don't know. This is completely changed. Okay. Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for being part of our class today. We really greatly appreciate you. There we go. Okay. And there's a lot that we need to talk about, and we're going to be talking about it more tomorrow. So I'm going to have a link for you in just a moment here. So hang out as we get all of this set up. And of course, I always welcome your questions, anything that you'd like to know about the Genius, you can ask today. Or if you'd like some immune frequencies today, would you like some frequencies for your immune system? If so, then please do volunteer by putting your date of birth into the chat. We're going to talk about the power of the immune system, specifically the lymphatic system today, but I have big news for you that I want to share with you just a moment. So give me a second here. I want to make sure that I have this Zoom information for you. We are going to have a special presentation tomorrow at the same time as today's webinar. We had to wait till tomorrow to do the final launch. So what we meant to do today is going to happen tomorrow. Let me get you the link for this. It's going to be tomorrow at noon or 3 o'clock Eastern time. If Zoom will be kind to me, we can get this in. Okay, there we go. All right. Hello and welcome. Hello. Thank you so much. All right. Anybody wants to volunteer to get immune frequencies today, we will do it. So make sure you put your date of birth into the chat. And I really appreciate you doing that and being part of our community. And we'll get going in just a moment here. Got a couple of things I need to grab. So sign up, look into the chat, and please sign up for the class for tomorrow, especially if you are an affiliate. If you want to help other people get the Genius, this would be a good thing to show up at and join us for. Give me 1 second to get some resources that I need here. And we will get started in just one moment. We will get everything set up and ready for you. So thank you again for joining, and thanks for being part of our Genius community. I'd love to have your questions. Anybody who has questions about the Genius today can certainly ask them. And like I said, we're going to do a special presentation tomorrow. You guys, this is going to be hot off the presses, big breaking news, all about the Genius. It's going to change everything that you could ever imagine about the Genius in a big way, and in a lot of ways it'll still be exactly the same. So let me give you a little bit of an intro on that. You'll want to join me tomorrow, so make sure that you get the Zoom link, and we'll post it again inside the chat. So we'll go ahead and just people keep posting that Zoom link. Special presentation tomorrow, all about new information about the Genius. So let's just jump in and take a little preview. The biggest thing tomorrow that we're going to discuss at noon, 3 o'clock Eastern, is that the Genius will be essentially the same price, but it'll be broken down into modules or pieces that people can buy separately. It'll be broken up into modules or pieces that people will be able to get separately. So because of that, you as the referring person will probably be able to get a lot more people to the table, because starting with a smaller module means that they have a lower entry price to start the fun. We still feel that the full program is the best way to experience the Genius, because everything that's in there is an integral part of really experiencing the power of biofeedback and the power of the Genius. However, in the times that we're living in, not everybody can do that. So we're giving them an opportunity to enter in at a lower price point to get a limited, not complete version of the Genius. Now, I know you're going to want to know all the details, so please join me tomorrow at noon, 3 o'clock Eastern. We're going to look at those little mini modules and some specials that you will want to refer other people to come to the table. So it's going to be super exciting. It's going to be really, really cool. And you're probably going to make more money because you're going to be able to refer more people. Whereas there was like this threshold that they couldn't get past. Now they're going to take it in bite-sized pieces and kind of customize it. So we're going to start with a package called the Genius Essentials Plus, and I'll tell you all about what they get with that. And there's going to be a shockingly good price point that they're going to be able to enter into. So if you've ever had anybody standing on the sidelines saying, I just can't do that, I'll never be able to do it, you're going to love what we're going to share with you. So it's basically going to be these different modules that are going to be the system overview, the libraries module. The ability to receive or create libraries is going to be separate. The ability to send QuantiCapsule to people, frequencies through the QuantiCapsule, that will be separate. The reports function will be separate. The custom playlist function will be separate. But lucky you, you have the full program already and you never have to worry, do I have this module? Do I not have it? People will still be able to buy it full together in a juicy package, but they'll also be able to buy it piecemeal. So get that Zoom link now and make sure you sign up tomorrow to join me, and we'll give a couple of things away. Okay, we'll give away some wristbands and some things that you can imprint. So come and get a prize tomorrow. We'll do a random drawing tomorrow. Make sure you come to class. Learn how you can make some more money with referrals a lot more easily. I want to make sure everybody gets signed up for our new referral program. It's going to allow you to see a lot more in your dashboard. It's through our Kajabi, the training portal, and you can actually see a lot more specifics. You can get a lot more specific links to refer out to people for all of these new packages. It is going to be a fun time because we're going to have a lot more people teaming together. We're going to have a lot more people joining our Genius community because of this new and novel approach. And the Genius is going to be available for the very first time within the App Store for instant download. So that means when you tell somebody about it, they're going to be a lot more able to download it, and they won't hit the untrusted developer, which was never untrusted, something that it's not even worth discussing. It was always trusted, but it would kind of fool people and then they wouldn't go further. So it's going to be a joyous, happy, exciting time in the Genius community. So join me tomorrow so you can get all the deets, ask all your questions, and we'll go forward from there. All right, so, and thank you so much, Andy. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your referrals and sharing the Genius. It's really, really awesome. So thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. And like I said, tomorrow at the presentation, we're going to find out how to get everybody signed up for that. I'll give you all the details tomorrow, so we've already talked about that. Now I want to move on to the lymphatics for today. What we try to do here at geniusbiofeedback.com, check us out, geniusbiofeedback.com. What I try to do here as a naturopathic doctor, that's my training. I had a 4-year clinical clinical rotation training, 4 years of medical training, basically in physiology, in anatomy, in how the body works, in how to prescribe, homeopathy, herbs, nutrition, diet changes, things like that. And so as a result, how I teach the Genius is really with a human focus, really focusing on the anatomy and how the body works so that I can bring that information to you. And then you are an energetic director. Once you understand how the physiology of the body works, then you really can make very clever decisions to help people by directing the energy of the pancreas, or directing the energy of the lymphatic system, or directing the energy of the liver, whatever it is. You can go to those frequencies for that particular piece because you know how the underlying physiology works. If you're working with somebody with high blood pressure, you probably want to work with the kidneys and you want to work with the vessels, and you want to harmonize those different places. And we teach you a lot of lifestyle changes that would be really helpful to help people and could make a profound difference in their life. So that's our approach. And you can see all the incredible systems of the body here, and the one you can see sort of right in the middle there is the lymphatic system. You can see all those green vessels. Those are lymphatic vessels that are all over our body, and they're quite amazing. So we want to find out, what is it that the lymphatic system exactly does, and why is it important to maintain this health of the body through focusing on the lymphatics? So lymphatics are a group of organs, vessels, and tissues that they do protect you from infection. They also keep a healthy balance of fluids. They actually also help to filter out old red blood cells. That's part of the spleen, the lymphatics. But two of the most important functions is the immune function, but also sort of the hygiene function, keeping the fluid of the body moving and keeping it clearing waste products from the body. This is immensely important. Your lymphatics are really an amazing system, and you can think of it a little bit like an aquarium. Okay, if you have an aquarium and you have fish in there, you know you cannot keep the fish in there without ever cleaning the water. Their ecosystem must be cleansed so the fish stay nice and healthy. Your cells sit in this interstitial fluid, this fluid which is in your body. Your cells are immersed in it, and your cells are constantly consuming glucose, consuming food. They are also excreting their cellular waste. How does that waste get out of the body? That waste gets out of the body through the lymphatic system. So you drink lots of fresh water, but you also must move the body to move this wonderful fluid through the body and work out the cellular metabolites of the body. If we don't move, you know, if you don't move your body for several days, you don't feel good. Now, part of that is blood circulation, but part of it is the sludging of the lymphatics. So let's find out a little bit more. We can look at the body. So we see here in the body, we see everywhere that you have capillaries, everywhere that you have blood vessels, you have adjacent the lymphatic system, parallel, close to it, in order to, the capillaries are going to bring the cells oxygen, which is, what do you need oxygen? Because you're a little factory that makes energy and water and heat. And the most efficient way for you to make energy to run your body is by turning glucose into ATP. ATP is literally the purified gasoline like that you put into your car. It's how you ever flex a muscle, how your heart beats, how you have energy to do things, how everything happens in your body is because of ATP, that energy. And we efficiently turn energy or glucose into energy in the presence of oxygen. This is called aerobic respiration. So we have to bring oxygen to all the cells of the body. Then we have to also give them the unrefined petroleum, the oil basically that needs to be refined into energy, which is glucose. So also that travels in the blood. So the blood needs to deliver that. So to each and every tiny little cell in the body, we bring through the capillaries, through capillary flow, we bring blood. We also have parallel lymphatics, and you can see them all over the body. And then when you look at the lymphatics, you say, oh, that's interesting. It looks like there are these little nodules in there. And those are, in fact, called lymphatic nodes. And so the lymphatic nodes of the body are little processing centers for the immune system. So it turns out that we can get into our blood viruses, bacteria, and we can move this into the lymphatic channels, and the lymphatic channels will have all these white blood cells and immune cells in there, and will look or review the viruses and bacteria, and will be able to eliminate them through macrophages, the phagocytosis, engulfing T cells, B cells, things like that. So it is an amazing system, and you can see sort of the overview through the figure here. And then it's showing one of the actual lymph nodes, what that looks like to process the germs. And it's showing the blood flow. Look at the incredible, we're so amazing that we're so, made in this complexity, and yet we don't really need to know anything about it, right? It just happens on its own, but it is fun to know more about it. And so you can see the interface between the blood vessels and the lymphatics. Look how the lymphatics are all wrapped around the capillary. And so there's this constant exchange of fluids between the vessels and the lymphatics. So it's quite an amazing system to look at. We're going to look a little bit more in detail. Okay, so the vessels are all over the body. Anywhere you have blood vessels, you're going to have lymphatic vessels. And then not only do you have these nodes, but you have different organs that are considered part of the lymphatic system. So you have the thymus, okay? The thymus is going to produce the T cells, right? So you have the thymus gland. You also have the spleen that filters out the old worn out blood vessels. You have the bone marrow is also considered part of the lymphatic system, which makes the B cells. So all of this is part of your immune system. So it's the immune system function, keeping all the germs, from becoming problematic, but also regulating the fluid. The thing to know about the fluid is that your cardiovascular system has a pump, which is your heart. And so it's going to keep the fluids moving, right? All the arteries and veins and the return venous flow to the heart and all of those things are run by a pump. You must condition it. You must move the body in order to condition that heart. But even more so, to the point of movement, the lymphatics. The lymphatics do all of this incredible functions that we've been talking about, but they do not have a pump. We have to move the body to move the lymphatics. So walking, running, jumping, dancing, stretching, yoga, all of those things are incredibly important to keep the health and wellness of your lymphatics. Now we're going to talk about frequencies that you can run for the lymphatics for sure, but first things first, we live in this three-dimensional world. We have to move the body. That's really, really important. Okay, and the more that you move, you notice that you feel better for a number of different reasons, right? If you go you walk or you run, you're going to have a lot of feel-good chemicals happening, but it's also the body itself. You notice when you do yoga on a regular basis or you're walking or running, you might even say, gosh, you have so much less pain in my body. I don't feel as achy in my body. And part of it is that you're clearing out those lymphatics on a regular basis. So it's really fun to know and to, really cover all the bases for yourself by learning about this lymphatic system. So let's take just a little bit of a closer look here with this picture. We talked about some of these. This is showing what's happening between the flow. There's always this exchange of fluids between the lymphatics and the capillaries. Now, let's talk about some great ways to take care of this lymphatic system and ways that I know you've all heard about, but let's just talk a little bit about the whys, because that's really fun. Okay, so your cells are bathed in this extracellular fluid, right? It's also called the extracellular matrix. It's a part of the body that is not very well talked about. You don't really read articles on the extracellular matrix, but it's one of the most important parts of your body to detoxify, to move, to make sure that the health of the extracellular matrix is really, really good, because otherwise you're bathing your cells in kind of this mucky, dirty fluid. We don't want to do that, okay? So our lymphatics help us to process this extracellular matrix. So what do you need to do to keep this all healthy? First of all, you need to drink good, pure, good quality water. So you want to make sure you have something in there to provide the good fluid that is going to be part of your lymphatics. Then you want to manually work on the pumping action. How do you do this? All right, so what are the practices that we can do to achieve this? First of all, you've probably heard of rebounding. Okay, you probably heard of rebounding, but why is it important to have a rebounder? And you only really need to do 5 or 10 minutes a day of gentle. You're not like doing like a major, like 5 feet jumping up. You're just doing a gentle kind of bouncing exercise. That's all you really need to do. When you jump, hey, if you want to jump rope, that's great too. But when you jump, your body naturally opens and closes the lymphatic valves, which is going to encourage more of this fluid exchange between the lymphatics and the capillaries. Okay, so you're going to open and close, open and close. You're going to be forcing the fluid through the lymphatic system. Okay, you can stimulate your lymph by 15 times from just 5 to 10 minutes of jumping per day. So even more than running, even more than your yoga, a little bit of rebounding, a little bit of jumping. And of course, the rebounding makes it easier on your back, on your system, right? It's really gentle on your joints and it feels good. If you've ever done even a couple of minutes of rebounding, you kind of get a little bit of a dopamine rush. You really get that feeling that it feels great. You feel all the blood flowing. So it also works at this zero gravity point as you go up, and right before you come down, you're sort of at this zero gravity point, which is also really significant, can help you to make you feel more relaxed. Okay, so rebounding is going to, of course, use your legs. It helps to improve collateral circulation. So you're going to improve the circulation in your legs, which is really important. If anybody suffers from cold hands or specifically cold feet, you may be decreasing the good circulation in your legs. If you don't use it, you lose it. You've got to keep the body moving your whole entire life, and I really challenge you even to push that where you're doing running races or you're challenging yourself to do something physical throughout your entire life. You got to get those legs moving because that's really going to keep the collateral circulation or increase the circulation. And when you increase the blood vessels, right, the little branching off of the blood vessels, this collateral circulation, you give the body a better chance to be oxygenated so you don't feel achy. So you don't feel when you get up, oh, it's hard to move, or I don't feel good. You're going to really improve that. And of course, you're going to carry off waste products more easily and completely. And rebounding works with these G forces, which is that zero gravity. The forces of gravity go to a zero for a split second during rebounding, and you experience this total weightlessness. When you push down on the rebounder, the pull of the G-forces is increased and places all the cells under this consistent rhythmical pressure. And this is going to detoxify, nourish, and strengthen. Again, the same thing with the lymphatic valves. You're really pushing that flow through the vessels. And the more that you're sort of pushing or exchanging those fluids, the better, because you're going to have an opportunity to move the cellular waste through the lymphatic chain of the body, and eventually it gets collected in the cisterna cheli in the body, in the middle part of the body, and eventually gets processed by the kidneys and eliminated from the body. So it's a really powerful, the body is doing so many things really under our conscious awareness. It's really amazing. Now, of course, you probably heard of doing skin brushing, and if it's always good just to hear a reminder, right? So skin brushing is not just for exfoliating, which is very valuable, but the lymphatics live just right under the surface of the skin. And so even the most gentle skin brushing will be very, very powerful to the body in terms of moving the lymphatics. And you always start at the extremities and move with the brush or the loofah sponge into the central core of the body. And it should only take you a couple of minutes to do. You always do it dry. Skin brushing is going to be more effective than using it within the shower, although you could use a separate scrub brush inside your shower, but you want to do the real dry skin brushing outside. And of course, that's going to be wonderful in the exfoliation as well, because it allows a lot more toxins to come through the skin. And it's going to really increase your circulation, increase your energy. If you're tired in the morning and it's hard to wake up, it's probably part of the sludge of the lymphatics, trying to, they're kind of sending messages to your brain, they need to be moved. You need to, really wake up, probably hydrate as well, and then move the lymphatics. And I thought it was fun just to look at the loofahs. Of course, you can see the loofah right there. They come from actual plants. I'm sure maybe you're aware or not. And it's kind of fun. Sometimes you see YouTube videos of people who grow their own loofah and how they process it into a loofah sponge. You can see the final product sort of before and after here. So that's a wonderful natural material. So many of the materials that we use in our lives, clothes, are filled with chemicals and can even be estrogen mimickers, the polyesters and so forth. And I think it's funny that people do go to yoga, and even the Lululemon, like they're so filled with polyesters. And a funny kind of way that you can, it's hard to think of going to hot yoga, but wool is actually a pretty cool alternative. And of course, there's cotton and there's hemp, but cotton is sometimes really processed. You can get organic cotton, but it's important to consider the clothes that you're wearing as well as the sponge that you're using. Maybe you're well aware you're already doing this, but the regular clothes that you would buy at most stores will tend to off-gas their chemicals forever, even after many, many washes. So it's good to see if you can get natural fabrics into your life as well. Okay, so as the function of the body is not just to move the fluid in the lymphatics, but they're also constantly presenting different pathogens known as bacteria and viruses to the lymph nodes of the body. So when we saw those pictures of the lymphatic system, you saw those little nodes. Those nodes are incredibly important. And they have discovered today that they really don't get better outcomes for women who have breast cancer and choose mastectomy. The doctors will often just yank out all the whole lymphatic chain related to that area of the cancer. And they've discovered over the years that it really don't have better outcomes from doing it. And of course, you know about lymphedema. It's really detrimental to the overall immune system, fluid flow. And so they've discovered over time that it's better to leave the lymphatics in the body whenever possible. And you certainly should ask a surgeon to do that for you, because they don't get better outcomes overall. They just feel that they're doing a better job by removing any place the cancer could be. But that's not really how cancer works in the body. Sort of the body's very, you have to go to the root cause of what caused the cancer in the first place. I think you all know it has to do with estrogens. Actually, it has to do a lot with high-fat diets and high-protein diets. And I am working on a breast health course to bring to you, which I'll let you know about within a couple of weeks. Okay, so the lymphatic fluid passes through the lymph nodes of the body, and as it does, the white blood cells will neutralize, which is kind of amazing. You see the white blood cell here, and actually kind of engulfs the bacteria and uses enzymes to digest and neutralize any bacteria. So as long as your immune system is working well and you have these lymphatic chains in place, then you will be able to stop any viruses, you'll be able to stop any bacteria. And we heard all about that during the pandemic, right? No, we didn't hear any of that. When you take care of your body, your immune system works really well. And if your immune system is working very well, it's hard for any pathogen to really affect you or touch you. And this also has to do with the development of cancer. Your immune system plays a very big role in protecting you from cancer, specifically in the protective part of your immune system called the tumor necrosis factor and your natural killer cells. So these are really important to keep intact. How do you keep them intact? You keep well hydrated. You don't eat a lot of processed foods. You eat a more low-fat, low-protein diet of whole, unprocessed foods. Your natural killer cells and tumor necrosis cells will work just fine and do the job that they were meant to do. All right, we're not going to talk about too much more right now. We did talk about the immune system in great detail in our practitioner courses, so you can check them out at geniusbiofeedback.com. We are going to talk about some of our lymphatic libraries that will be available this week for a 40% discount. So if you want any immune libraries or any of the lymphatic libraries, they're going to be available at a 40% discount. Let's see what questions that you have. How often do you recommend doing skin brushing? Just once in the morning. It really shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. Although once you start doing it, you'll absolutely love it. And you can watch different videos on YouTube. You want to start at the top of your hands and work your way all the way back to the core of the body. And then you go to the top of the feet and you work from the top of the feet all the way up to like sort of the core of the body. But you can watch many videos on YouTube all about exactly how to skin brush, but it really shouldn't take you more than about 5 minutes. I've heard that rebounding can encourage the bladder to drop. So you could also sort of, we're not talking about massive rebounding, like somebody, jumping up in the air 4 feet. Minor rebounding, a way to work on that would be don't even let your feet leave leave the rebounder. Just feet stay attached to the rebounder. So I've never heard of that. If somebody was doing an extreme jump, or maybe they have a risk factor where maybe they've had a cesarean or they have some type of concern. So I would consult the doctor for that. But most people can do rebounding just fine. And we're not exactly going to talk about the lymphatics today, but we do have a glymphatic library. The lymphatics were discovered really fairly recently, that there is a whole lymphatics in your brain. But the way that the lymphatics in the brain are activated are a little bit different from this physical manual. Obviously, you're not going to do skin brushing of your brain or anything like that. So the lymphatic system, or the clearing system in the brain, is facilitated by good sleep. So sleep helps the drain the brain to drain more effectively the metabolic waste, and also brain derived neurotrophic factor, or something called BDNF. And the way that you produce more BDNF in the body is through activity. So making sure that you're doing some sort of activity, movement every single day, especially high intensity exercise, seems to help the correct production of brain derived neurotrophic factor. Okay, so we're gonna do a case now, and if the person that we have join us has a quanta capsule, then we will send them the frequencies in the quanta capsule. So Melinda, why don't you join us today, and we're going to ask you to be part of our class. So we're going to ask you to be like a panelist, and then we're going to ask you to join by camera and stuff like that. So Melinda, if you're still with us. Also, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, anything about your genius, although really in recent weeks, no one has asked really any questions about their genius. So it's really just changed over time. But let's see if we can do a case, because it's always wonderful to work on a case together. So let's see if we can do that and talk with Melinda and find out how she's doing today. So Melinda, when you're ready, just open up your camera as well when you're ready to do that. All right, Melinda, how are you?
Good. I'm really good. I'm
Okay,
trying to
thank you.
find
Thank
the
you so much
camera.
for joining, and tell us a little bit, how long have you had your genius for, or are you still in the process of getting your genius?
I've had it for a couple months.
Okay, big congratulations to you. And do you have any questions that you want to ask, or anything that you've been wondering about as you've started your journey of doing biofeedback?
I just need to get more into watching the classes and figure out how to apply the the I just can't seem to do any extra things like get the lymphatic to work on my genius.
Okay.
So I just
Um,
need more training, I guess, is all.
oh, that's totally fine. What was your motivation? What were you hoping to accomplish by getting the genius? Or just curious, just want to discover things?
Definitely want to discover things and help family members and then go into helping others.
That's fantastic. Do you currently do any type of a healing practice now?
No, no.
Okay, and that is totally fine. That is not a problem at all. And is there anything in particular that we can focus on for you today?
Just the immune system. I had Lyme disease and uh, I think that I got rid of it, but you never know. It's always swirling around.
I can understand that. And are any particular symptoms or things that you're working on? Like, are you working on having more energy? Are you working on sleeping better? Anything
Yeah.
like that?
More energy and less brain fog.
Less brain fog. Okay, fantastic. Well, let's record your voice. So I put you into our system here, and now we're at the voice recording. So let's go ahead and record your voice in, you know how to do the AEIOU. So we'll start
Yes.
recording your voice in three, two, one. I am recording.
AEIOU. 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 AEIOU.
Perfect.
AEIOU.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. And where are you joining us from today?
Sandpoint, Idaho.
Oh, wonderful. How's the weather in Idaho today?
Hot.
Oh, does it get hot
Yeah.
during the summertime? Pretty hot.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, but I bet it's beautiful out.
Yes.
All right, let's see if we can do the picture in this really kind of weird manner here. So we're going to do the take the picture and let's see how it looks here. Why is that giving me a hard time today? Maybe I need to do this. Oh, there we go. Does that help? Why is it doing that? That is so weird. Oh, I know why. I'm doing it the wrong way. I am doing it the wrong way. This is my own fault. Okay. Wake up. There we
Okay.
go. Okay. That's not your fault at
Ah,
all. Just go ahead and was not getting there we go. Okay, quick smile from you. Thank you so much. Okay, use the
okay.
photo. Then it shows it upside down. So I just have to, I don't still haven't gotten the way of doing this. Okay, turn that off. Do you like that? And then we say
Sure.
done. And this only happens because this is actually located on my Mac. So I'm working from a desktop as opposed to working from an iPad. And so that's the reason why that happens. And now we're all good to go. Let's see how the camera's doing over here for me. Okay, very good. All right, we usually don't do this, but do you have an affirmation or a word that you would like us to entrain today? Let me give you some examples so you don't feel on the spot. Just to demonstrate how this works with the energetic affirmation, you can ask someone to just put in a word. This word or the energy around this word will play in the background whenever we play frequencies. So examples of words that you could choose would be joy, love, peace, abundance, um,
Abundance, I guess. Yep.
abundance. Okay, abundance. And so you don't actually have to have a full affirmation in here. It can just
Oh.
be one word. And then when you're working with your client, give them some suggestions so they can just pick it. I always would say, remember the angel cards where you just pick one angel card out of the pack? And so imagine that you're picking an angel card for today. And so abundance, let me just try to spell that correctly. And then there we go. Okay, so now, Melinda, I am going to let you sit back, relax, and enjoy the fun, and we'll come back and talk with you in just a little bit, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. While I'm working on you, you may want to check to see if you have a quanta capsule. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. If you do, or you don't have one right now, you may want to issue the trial from your quanta capsule dashboard to yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, that is also okay. But if you do, you could do it and choose an email address, and then I can send you the frequencies from today. Let me just try to get this all cleaned up for a moment. Okay, now we're ready to begin the analysis, and let's talk a little bit about the results and talk about the lymphatics as well. Any questions that you have about your genius that you would like to ask? Now is the time to do that. We're here on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern time in order to help you. And we've been doing this for a real long time, so we're happy to bring this to you. The website for us is geniusbiofeedback.com if you want to support what we do or check out some of the libraries. All of the libraries that have to do with the immune system or lymphatics will be 40% off. You don't need a coupon code. It'll be taken off at checkout, all taken care of for you. Let's go ahead and have some fun looking at the aura function. So there's the picture. We were able to successfully get that picture in there. And so now we're looking at the energetics around the picture and creating an aura based on the colors that have to do with the chakras of the person. Tells us kind of the starting point for the session. So let's see what we come up with for the aura colors and pattern for today. And then we take a screenshot of it, or we can even email it to our client if we want to. So let's go ahead and we're going to take it without the covering on it as well. So what we're seeing today is what we would like to see ultimately is a little bit more brightness in the aura. So it's a little bit muted. And usually that means our vital force is not as strong. Our chi is not as strong as it could be for whatever reason. And then we see the greenish on the outside, and this color green is more of a digestive and liver irritation issue. And so we would want to do some tuning up of the digestive system, which is very related to our immune system because of the Peyer's patches or the lymphatic tissue that's in our small intestine. And so it's showing some liver and gut stress. We'd want to clean that up. Then we see some beautiful purple. So there's a great spiritual connection and opening of the third eye. You can see just like a lot of light around Melinda when you saw her picture when she was joining us by camera. So she's very open in those sort of upper chakras, and an interesting kind of orange, these different shades of orange in here, which is second chakra, which is your creativity. And so that's looking very, very interesting. I think we're going to see those colors brighten up as well. We do see some red kind of, so maybe some first chakra as well. Let's go and show the avatar again. All right, so we have that. So let's go ahead now and let's look at some basics. So we make some basic observations, and it's just interesting. We see today's stress, we see some sensitivities, hormones, organs, glands, chemical sensitivities getting a very low score. Let's go ahead and take a look. It's saying herbicides, organophosphates, air pollution, who knows what the funny things they're spraying in the sky. Gasoline is funny because it's a volatile organic compound. So when you go to pump your gas, you want to make sure you do not get close enough to actually smell that gasoline, because that's going right into your system, into your bloodstream. So we want to balance some of that. Formaldehyde, that can be in your flooring. You know, the wonderful things that they say, the luxury vinyl flooring, things like that. You want to make sure that they don't have. Natural flooring is always best. Even looking into things like, of course, hardwood or cork is something you can use as flooring. So organophosphates and herbicides are kind of related, that they have to do with pesticides, one being what they spray on the ground, and organophosphates are more what you're going to find on the fruits and vegetables. So make sure you're always buying organic. But even organic, did you see the article where they're only testing organic food that comes in from out of the country? They're only testing 2% of it for any type of contamination having to do with pesticides. So I think the USDA took over, or the organic certification, in order to make it a kind of a joke. Well, at least they have since they started doing it. Here's today's stress. Kidneys. Kidneys. And remember, kidneys in Chinese medicine relate to the adrenals as well. Kidneys, environmental, emotional, nutritional. Very interesting. Fungus, inflammation, heavy metal toxicity, immune. All right, so let's get all of those in there. And let's see what else we can see here on the sort of the system overview. So the different packages that we're going to have, some of them are going to include this system overview, but you might only get the system overview and a few other things, and you have to build on that to get the rest of it. So you're lucky that you have everything. You don't have to worry about it. You've got the full package, and we still are going to have that available as well. All right, so remember to join me tomorrow for our Zoom. And when you join us for the Zoom, you're going to find out about this new version of the Genius. Not really new, it's just a new way to acquire it, and how the Genius is going to be in the App Store. So when you want to reload your Genius, you're going to be able to find it in the App Store. It's been available as in the Android or Google Play Store for a while, but now it's going to be available for Apple users. Whoa, spider effects, kind of interesting. Let's see if there we can get something kind of relevant to what we're talking about. So let's look at some of the lymphatic panels that we have. All right, lymphatic disturbance assessment. Let's look at that. Past infection. I wonder if that's the Lyme. Colon congestion. Well, the liver, the colon, and the gut, that can be all related. So maybe that's what we were seeing in the aura. Sometimes we can drag these, sometimes we can't. We're going to have to use our red drag function. Lymphatics clogged, lymphatic stagnation, gallstones. So you may want to check out my starch-centered plan with our potato rice pasta plan. So what we'll do is we'll gift you the potato rice pasta plan today. I'm going to gift you that course. It's also available on our website, geniusbiofeedback.com. The reason I share it so much is because it is the ultimate companion to biofeedback. You want to learn about this way of eating. I'm going to have a lot more articles and information coming out. One thing that's so interesting is that when you eat the fatty, sort of more than 20% fat in your diet, the amount of bile that you have to produce, it contributes to this buildup of the gallstones. Oh, that's related to the cholesterol in the food. But this deoxycholic acid that's produced by the bile, when it gets into the colon, it can be a progenitor of cancer. So the higher fat diet that you eat and the more that's produced by your own body because of the high fat diet, it can become a real risk factor, as well as the high fat diet can lead to leaky gut as well. These are things that are not very well talked about, but when you have a starch-centered plan where you don't take in free oils or a lot of really high fat in the diet, then you're going to be much healthier, you're going to be much leaner. It's really so rarely talked about because most of the noise that you hear from health gurus is to get your olive oil and to get your fats, and it's the last thing that will help you to really get healthy. And actually, this lower fat whole food plan will also help your immune system very, very powerfully. So virus involvement, liver congestion is sort of borderline optimized cardiac function. So this is good. You know what's really good, about seeing things on your Genius is that it's a truth teller for yourself. I often will look at the Genius and say, yeah, I really need to do that. Yeah, I really need to work on that aspect more. So it's fun to be able to see this. So this comes in our lymphatic pack series, which is the 40% off this week. Let's look at the lymphatic solutions. Lemon water, myrrh, tangerine, proteolytic enzymes, encouraging positive lymphatic flow rebounding that we talked about, frankincense oil. So all of these can be helpful applications to help the lymphatic fluid. Let's go ahead and get those in there as well. Let's see what else we have. A separate library is our lymphatic drainage library. This is separate. You can find it on the website under lymphatic drainage. And this is just a fun series of radionic rates. Radionic rates kind of act like frequency, and they were found by the radionics community. And so they're not exactly relatable to Hertz frequencies, but they do act, the series of numbers seems to be very significant and powerful, and we program them in as archetype encoding. So mandibular, bronchial, the lower part of the neck, gastric and liver drainage, in the legs. So these are all the places where the lymphatic drainage could be improved. So rebounding, skin brushing, moving, stretching, these are all really important. And stretching is something that's sort of emphasized in yoga. People either really gravitate towards yoga or they don't. But the whole concept in yoga is a series of compression. So when you're in the yogic posture, you're holding that posture, and therefore you're sort of cutting off the blood. So when you do the head to knee posture, whether it's sitting or standing, as you do this posture, you're going to be sort of cutting off the circulation to the leg. But the minute that you release the posture, then all the blood flows into the leg. And so you're bringing fresh oxygen and fresh nutrition, glucose, etc. And you can kind of feel it. You feel this invigoration from these series of compressive and release exercises. So any type of stretching can kind of bring that to you. And the people who teach yoga, right, the yogis say that this is the true exercise, is really the movement of the blood around the body. And that's kind of interesting. And that's what acupuncture does as well. Acupuncture, the goal of moving the needles is to get the blood to start moving in different directions for different reasons, but to decrease stagnation. Non-movement in the body is so detrimental to the body. All right, so we also have the anatomy. So the anatomy of any problem that you're trying to solve, right? If you're working on diabetes, you're going to work on the pancreas. If you're working on fatty liver, you're going to work on the liver anatomy. If you're working on the heart, you're going to work on the vessel anatomy and the anatomy of the heart itself. It's kind of a fun thing to do in biofeedback. So we're going to work on the lymphatic vasculature, the inguinal lymph nodes, the lymphatics of the lower limb. Look how that keeps coming up. So we got to get moving, dancing. We got to get those legs really moving more. The right lumbar trunk, the left jugular trunk, the popliteal nodes, the common iliac nodes, the lymphatic vessel, the spleen, the superficial inguinal node, and so on and so forth. So we're going to include those in there as well. And let's go back and see if there's anything that we missed. Okay, we could also work on the lymphatic system. Somebody mentioned that. This is the lymphatic system of the brain, so why not work on that as well? So these are all the different pieces. This is a library that we have on the website at geniusbiofeedback.com, working on the lymphatic system. So let's go ahead and include that. Then let's go back here and let's make sure we've included our Bach flower essences. So even if you just tested somebody just to reveal to them what their top 3 flower essences are, that would be really, really powerful. So we usually work in this number of 3s. But if you think about it, one way to never be sort of bumping against the head of medical interpretations is to bring somebody a full emotional healing session. Just say, I'm going to be testing you today for your top 3 flower essences, which is going to reveal your greatest blockages of today, and will help me to help you to talk about them and reveal them to you. And of course, another way to add on to that, let's just go back and do that, is to add on the affirmations. So we have a number of different affirmations at geniusbiofeedback.com. And let's go ahead and look at a few of them and see if there's one that kind of jumps out at us that we could use for today. I like the lymphatics, the affirmations for rejuvenation and longevity, but of course I love these. I'm going to do the breakthrough to success. My DNA evolves at this moment. It gives me the most positive experience of life and reverses the aging process. I allow joy in my life. Let's go down here. I'm now thinking with super intelligence. Old habits easily fall away and I'm free of them. I now find the courage. I love, getting some affirmations in, and people love to receive the affirmations in their quantum capsule as well. So let's see what comes up here on the progressive insights. That has to do with the lymphatics. Deep delta waves for maximum lymphatic function. So that's going to work on the sleep part here. Every cell in my body is happy, healthy, and filled with light and vitality. I take full responsibility for my life. Let's see if there's let's go ahead and put this for 1 minute. And let's see if there's a flower essence that comes in here. So let's just turn this down just for a moment. So the top flower essence in the first minute, so the first scan, is vervain. So let's look up vervain in the floral acupuncture book. Vervain is a remedy for those with fiery ideals. Your ability for strong inspiration may keep you above the crowd, firing your body into idealistic actions that eventually burn your forces with their intensity. Those around you may feel a little bit controlled, and you can now completely release this. Vervain helps you to release steam, granting your body a renewed ability to flow with life as it is. Floating down to earth, you can see things from a more grounded and peaceful perspective. They also talk about the plant itself, the vervain flower. And so vervain plants are all stem with few leaves and tiny pink flowers that peek quietly out at intervals up the stalk. Growing to a height of 3 to 4 feet, the thin stem gives the impression of tension as they blow stiffly in the wind. So it's interesting, the colors and the flowers. Okay, so that got a full rectification in just a short time. And it's interesting that vervain in the floral acupuncture book is connected to the gallbladder meridian. And we kind of saw that gallbladder meridian connection in the aura. I'm now going to do a rescan. It's going to give us a new flower essence. And we're, again, do that 3 flower essence session for someone for an emotional clearing, for clearing the obstacles, for helping them to be more uplifted. And you often touch on the things that they're dealing with the most. And this is something that is non-medical. So when you talk to it about, you're not touching up against saying that you're giving a medical diagnosis. So the next one that comes up is aspen. And aspen is about releasing our fears. So aspen is a remedy for unknown fears. This state can be caused by early childhood trauma seeded in your cells, or can be a short-term condition that results from your life taking an uncertain turn. Often the aspen state is precipitated in childhood by some frightening episodes that may have happened when you least expected them. Using aspen releases this state and lets you feel more grounded. Okay, and it's also connected to the bladder meridian, which is connected to the kidney, or paired with the kidney meridian. Let's see what some of your questions are here. And question, is there an adapter to connect the remedy plate to the iPad? I did reply to your question in the text that you sent. I'm so sorry if it didn't come through. What you do to do that is called an adapter, and you just find out what kind of iPad that you have. If it's an iPad, if it's an older one, it might have a lightning connection. If it's a newer one, it might have a USB-C connection. So you want to go out and just go dongle, D-O-N-G-L-E, dongle connection for my, for my iPad. And it's going to be a 3.5 millimeter connection adapter so that you can connect your Remedy plate to your iPad. Very, very easy. I currently have the iPad on my Genius on my iPad, but I would like to use it on the go. Can you remind me how I can get the Genius on another device? You can go to geniusbiofeedback.com and just put in second access into the search bar, and that brings up another way to get another access for you. All right, so what is the name of the book you're referring to? It's called Floral Acupuncture, and it's all about a combination of the flower essences and the meridians of the body. All right, so she says in here, I am ready for change. That's the #1 affirmation that comes up for her today when we've gone to, why do we rescan? Why do we rescan several times? In fact, I put this into the email that I sent out earlier today. We rescan in order to get to a deeper and deeper level. Every time we rescan, we basically it's like boiling water, kind of percolating off the superficial. And we're getting down to what are the deeper issues. So I'm ready for change. And then the next flower essence, actually it's really not coming up at the top here, but the next flower essence that we can get to is vervain again. So that's a strong flower essence when it keeps coming up to the top. And then the next one would be chicory. Let's see if there's any significance to chicory. And I could have balanced that other one for another minute to go to over 40% rectification, but we just don't have time for it. So let's see, chicory is used when your mind is focused on thoughts of where you're feeling a little sorry for yourself, but you're trying to get past it, feeling that the world is not fulfilling your needs. You may refuse to take up life tasks until what you perceive as your requirements are met. Usually those around you might, feel that you're doing that and you're ready to get past it. But chicory opens the doorway to your real home. So when you have chicory come up, you're ready for change. It's actually very similar to that affirmation. So chicory is combined with the stomach. So this is really all focused on that stomach, liver, and gallbladder. Okay, so it's called stomach 29. So it's a specific point that the floral acupuncture folks are connecting it to. The return is a point you can utilize when you've worked through many of your old patterns. You'd find that you need a final push to let go. Feeling ultimately starved for the food you've been missing along your path may be an impetus for this leap. The return is the sight that affects this letting go and brings you home to your center. Like receiving the sumptuous banquet after you've been away for years, support and nourishment rush in. And let's look at this a little bit. So we could actually go to the meridian function in the Genius. There's so many things in the Genius that could almost be their own standalone program. But if we go here to the stomach meridian and we look for stomach 29, so we'll do, it's already analyzed. So let's look for stomach 29 and oh geez, I don't know how to make it bigger on this screen because it's not a touch screen. So let me see if I can kind of figure it out. Oh good, okay, there's stomach 29 right there. So right there, it's actually by the pubic bone. Let's see where it is. Looks like it's right on the pubic bone itself. So stomach 29, that's where it's located, but you can also grab stomach 29. I don't think we're able to, wait, will this do the order, the number order? It says 0 to 100. 100 to 0. That doesn't seem to work. Does this work? Yeah, oh no, it's giving us the score. I was hoping that the developer would actually give us this in numerical order so it'd be easier to find the meridian that we're looking for. But you could actually grab this point, stomach 29, and also add it into your balancing. But on the fly, there it is, okay. Everybody's probably seeing it and I'm not, there we go. and you could also bring it up here. And another way to do this is you could actually just add in the vervain from the Bach flower essences. So this would be another way. It's probably high or low somewhere. Yep, there it is. And so you could put the vervain and the stomach 29 together. Another way is the flower essence on Meridian Point library. And you can just balance that, whoops, for some time as well. Let's go ahead and see what the aura is at the end. And any final questions? Remember to tune in tomorrow for our presentation on the new way to get the genius so that you can really share that with other people. I think that'll be incredibly beneficial and a fun way. It's going to have some fun. We'll give away a few things tomorrow to thank you for joining us. We'll give away some wristbands. Oh, interesting. Wow, what an interesting ending aura. Well, a lot of that green has been removed from the aura. Isn't that fascinating? But we're still working through a few things. And it's interesting that it got brighter and they got that red and that purple in the middle. So we're moving into a better place, and we're clearing out that liver. We're clearing out that maybe stomach congestion a little bit. Well, let's go ahead and let's check back in with our wonderful participant here, Melinda. What are your thoughts about some of the things that were coming up, some of the things that we were getting to during our session today?
That's very interesting. Your screen looks so different than mine. And I'm excited to learn how to use it better.
Great. That's awesome. Well, we certainly welcome that. I'm glad that you're here and glad that you joined us today. Do you have your own Quanta capsule right now?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Do you have can you put the email address into the chat so that we can send you those frequencies?
yes.
Okay, go ahead and do that. And thank you so much for being part of our class today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for choosing me.
All right, thanks, Melinda. Wonderful. Let's do a few things here. She's getting us that email address so we can send it right away. Whenever, of course, if you watch me for a while, you know that whenever this happens, I like to include the solfeggio-tones, and I always add them incorrectly. So now I finally added them correctly. And I'm going to use the solfeggio-tones plus the vervain and that stomach meridian. You guys, you can get so creative with what you're doing. I just want to make sure I have it 1 minute set here. You get so creative with what you're doing, and it's really just only limited by what you think of, but think of these different ways that really pleases the client. Whoops, sorry about that. And it's so interesting for them to see affirmations in their quantum capsule, or to nail kind of their whatever the emotional issue that's going on with them. You know, people have all types of theories about why we get sick. Of course, it's multifactorial. I do believe a big part has to do with diet, and that a lot can be rectified with diet, with changing to sort of the more the food we were meant to eat, the food before the food acquisition became so readily available. And so that's mostly with starches. That does make a difference. But in Chinese medicine, they say that that something that causes you to have the acute illness or get sick at that moment is a prolonged a prolonged extreme emotional state. So when you really have felt maybe a prolonged grief or a prolonged anger or a prolonged frustration. So there is always I believe, an emotional component, and it's good to get, getting to the flower essences kind of defines the different energies that may be holding the person back. So it can be incredibly powerful. Let's see if we can do this together. Let's go to our quantum membership, and I'm going to go to see if I can add her into my system. So I need to go right here, and then, oh, those have sort of been all kind of mixed up there. Love when that happens. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little magnifying glass here, and I'm going to put her email into the system. Oh, that's not the email, it's the Zoom link. All right, so make sure that we put the Zoom link here. Okay, make sure you get that Zoom link for tomorrow so you can learn about the changes happening with the Genius program. Make sure you join us. And then here's her email, so we're going to put her right in here. Want to add her first so we can kind of track what's going on with the playlist. Now we're going to go back here and we're going to export this little one with the solfeggios. Let's go ahead and we'll say solfeggio and flower essence, right? And then we will bring up the person right here. Now we have them. Okay. And now they're going to get the name of the playlist and it's going to be sent right to them. And then we want to maybe send a second playlist with all the other items in there, right? So let's see, 120 items. But if we go here, we're going to do another rescan. And now let's just choose the high items so it's not overwhelming to them. I'm now thinking with super intelligence. We're going to export that to the capsule. We do that right here. So this is going to be lymphatic and immune frequencies. And now we're going to add that right there and do that, and we're good to go. So now we can send it. And you always want to look for that notification that it's been sent. Right? Email sent to the user. It's not that easy to see, but it's usually right there. Then it goes away. So now she has those Quanta capsule. And what we can do is we can go right back to here. We go to the Quanta membership. Then we go into our members. We can see here, we go to the playlist and hopefully we can see it. So she hasn't imported it yet. She can find it actually right. She doesn't even need to get the email anymore. She can find it right in her little gallery of icons within the Quanta capsule. So she can now play this, and you could tell the person like, oh, in the morning, play the lymphatic and immune frequencies, and then in the evening, play the solfeggios and flower essences. And it's just fun. You know, it is just so fun to utilize the Genius, to have it for your friends and family. And we're really going to be talking about a way that's going to be much more widely available tomorrow at that Zoom. Be sure to join us and let anybody else in our community know to join me tomorrow so that we can talk about this. And this is the website, geniusbiofeedback.com. All of the libraries related to the immune system today are at 40% off, and you should be able to see them. Oh, that's not them, but you get the idea. You should be able to see them on the website by putting into the search term, the search bar, immune or lymphatics. So just put into the search bar immune. You should be able to see all the immune libraries. And then you can also, even Lyme will be available at the 40%, and then also the lymphatics as well. Thank you everybody for joining the weekly training. We'll see you tomorrow, and then we will be back next week. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye for now.